And welcome to Hannity. And tonight, Donald Trump is doing what the liberal mainstream media refuses to do, and that is expose Hillary Clinton's real record to you, the American people. Instead of waiting for the so-called journalists to ever do their job in this election campaign, well, Trump vetted Hillary Clinton and her disastrous record at the second presidential debate. This is very important. Think in your mind, why didn't they ask her these questions?
If you look at Bill Clinton, far worse, minor words, and his was action. His was what he's done to women. There's never been anybody in the history of politics in this nation that's been so abusive to women. Sidney Blumenthal, he's another real winner that you have, and he's the one that got this started along with your campaign manager, and they were on television just 2 weeks ago. She was saying exactly that. So you really owe him an apology. You're the one that sent the pictures around your campaign, sent the pictures around with President Obama in a certain garb. Her papers went out to all her friends at the banks, Goldman Sachs and everybody else, and she said things, WikiLeaks, that just came out, and she lied. Now she's blaming the lie on the late, great Abraham Lincoln. That's one that I haven't. Okay, Honest Abe. Honest Abe never lied. That's the good thing. That's the big difference between Abraham Lincoln and you. For you to say that there was nothing wrong with you deleting 39,000 emails, again, you should be ashamed of yourself. And by the way, with Iran, who you made very powerful with the dumbest deal perhaps I've ever seen in the history of deal making, the Iran deal with $150 billion, with the $1.7 billion in cash, which is enough cash to fill up this room. The way they got out of Iraq, the vacuum they've left, that's why ISIS formed in the first place. They started from that little area, and now they're in 32 different nations, Hillary. Congratulations. Great job.
All right, so how did we get to this point where Donald Trump is actually doing the job of the mainstream media? Remember back in 2008, I said journalism is dead. Well, it still is. Now, the media refuses to delve into Hillary Clinton's past, just like they refused to ask back in 2008 about then-Senator Barack Obama and his radical ties. Remember, the media wouldn't touch stories or ask questions about Obama's relationship with unrepentant domestic terrorists Bill Ayers and Bernardine Dohrn, or about Obama's ties to his pastor of more than 20 years, the Church of GD America, the Reverend Jeremiah Wright. Now, the liberal press, they turned a blind eye to Obama's embracing of the tactics of the radical left, you know, left-wing activists like Saul Alinsky. And those are just a few examples. Also tonight, while the media colludes with the Clinton campaign to try and tear down Donald Trump, well, the GOP nominee continues to campaign even harder. Watch this.
We're going to take on the special interests, the corrupt media, and it is corrupt, and the career politicians that have stolen your jobs, your wealth, and stolen our middle class. They've stolen our middle class. And Hillary Clinton doesn't have a clue about how to bring back jobs. That I can tell you, folks. She doesn't have a clue. If she wanted to, she couldn't do it. You know, in New York State, she ran for the Senate. And you know, upstate New York is a disaster for jobs. And she said, I'm going to bring back 200,000 jobs. Guess what? Right down the tubes. Worse today than ever before. I'm not proud of everything that I've done in life. I mean, who among us is? Is anybody totally proud of every single element? Some we are. But let me tell you what I'm very proud of. I'm proud that I've always treated the blue-collar worker, and I consider myself in a certain way to be a blue-collar worker, that make this country run with tremendous respect. The waiters and waitresses, the cops and firefighters, the receptionists and the custodians, we treat them with dignity and respect. These are great people. These are great people.
And here now with reaction, author of the brand new book. It is out today. It's called Treason. Former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. Good to see you. How are you?
Good to be with you.
And you're going to be in New Jersey, Ridgewood tomorrow at 7 o'clock.
I am.
Bookends. Great
Very
place
excited.
to be. All right. There's so much ground to cover here. But we have learned not only did the media not ask the questions that Donald Trump brought up in this debate, but what did we find out? We learned that Univision's head was encouraging Clinton to hit Trump harder. NBC, John Harwood, he actually moderated a debate. He was advising the Clinton campaign. We know the New York Times. We've been interviewed by the New York Times a lot. Did they ever give you veto power over your quotes? that she had veto power.
Nice thought.
Boston Globe coordinating how to increase her presence at their newspaper. Then we have instances, Donna Brazil was at CNN, literally sharing town hall questions, although she denies it in fairness to her. How they actually use Benghazi to distract 4 dead Americans from her email server scandal. There's so much here and so little time. What do you make of this, but more specifically, how corrupt our news media is?
Well, let's stay with the news media for a second. A good friend of mine, Barry Castleman, who writes a blog out in Minnesota, wrote yesterday that what we're seeing is a news media coup d'etat. He said he's always seen bias, but he's never seen the unified media try to destroy a candidate. And that what you've seen starting on Friday was a deliberate effort to destroy Trump and at the same time to smother all of the secret, I describe it as the secret Hillary. And I think it's very important for people to understand. The next 27 days are a straight-up fight between Trump's social media and the news media's effort to destroy him.
And that's what it is. We have now media outlets, top outlets, that are coordinating with the Clintons to take down Trump and not do their job.
But look, it's time to get past baloney. I mean, you had a major figure at ABC who gave thousands of dollars to the Clinton Foundation. You have the head of CBS News, his brother, is the #2 person in the National Security Council for Obama. I mean, I tell people it's not that they're for Hillary. They are Hillary.
That's a powerful statement. They're an extension of the Hillary campaign.
Or she's an extension of them.
Then how do I get all this criticism when I tell everybody I'm a conservative?
Because you're conservative. You don't understand.
So I should accept this as fact.
The thing the American people need to understand is that after 8 years of damage by Obama, Hillary Clinton, if she wins, will mean the end of America as we've known it, literally. Her radical judges will eliminate the Second Amendment. They will eliminate religious liberty. They will eliminate freedom of speech. Her radical appointees will shift power to Washington. She'll bring the most corrupt administration in history into the White House, and the rule of law will become irrelevant. It'll be, as we're discovering from these WikiLeaks, it'll be the rule of friends of Bill.
Here's what we learned we learned that Debbie Wasserman Schultz and the DNC coordinated to basically hurt Bernie Sanders any way they could. We learned in the last WikiLeaks dump that Hillary Clinton wants an open hemisphere where 600 million people could come into the country, and she admits that she's one person in private and another person in public. Now we also find in the hacked emails she's praising Vladimir Putin. She was criticizing Trump on Sunday for the same thing, and she admits vetting Syrian refugees is impossible. These are key issues in the campaign.
Sure. She also goes on, by the way, to say she doesn't worry about terrorism in the United States. And, of course, the whole point of my novel Treason is to remind people this stuff is really, really dangerous. But I want to go to one thing you said, because this is one of the challenges. There's so much stuff coming out that you get lost. Her proposal, which she described out, the word was really important. Her dream, it's her word, dream, which she said to Brazilian bankers in a secret speech for which they paid $225,000, having 8 months earlier paid her husband $400,000. She says, my dream is of an open border hemisphere. Now that means MS-13 gangs from El Salvador, the most dangerous country in the world. It means the FARC coming in from Colombia, the largest cocaine producers in the world. It means the Mexican cartels come in. And you read this and you think to yourself, is this woman crazy? Does she have any idea what her words mean in the real world? And if Trump could simply slow down, focus on 3 or 4 things like that and say, look.
He can't possibly talk about all of them, can he?
Right, so he's got to pick the ones. But if we had a referendum on the election really just started. So you can't wait till election day.
People are now voting.
Right. So if he could have a referendum on if you really want 600 million people, including MS-13, the FARC, and the Mexican cartels, free access to America, vote for Hillary. If you really think we should control our southern border, vote for me. My guess is that's 75-25.
Do you realize the revelations about how they coordinated with the media, their contacts within the White House, their contacts at the Department of Justice while she is being investigated, how the White House is coordinating talking points on the email server? This is all revealed. I don't believe it's even possible for the American people to absorb the depth of corruption that now exists within our government and what a phony she is and how hypocritical on so many levels she is.
She's more than a phony. She is the most dishonest, most corrupt person ever to get this far in the presidential campaign. And think about what you just said a minute ago. I believe Trump's most important statement in the debate was that he would appoint an independent counsel. And my argument is not just for Hillary. We need an independent counsel at the Veterans Administration. We need an independent counsel to interrogate the current Attorney General and Bill Clinton to find out what did they say for an hour
on that
airplane just before they interviewed
I'll be fair,
Hillary.
it was about 39 minutes.
Okay, 30 minutes. So what did they say for 39 minutes?
Awful lot of time before.
They need to both be, the best to be under oath.
Well, the Clintons have never, Hillary's never put under oath. We got to take a break. By the way, congrats on the new, where did I put it? Oh, I got my copy right here. See? It's called Treason, Newt Gingrich. Pretty smart guy.